Alexa Lavoie for Rebel News, and I'm currently in Ottawa at the Rideau Hall where Mr. Carney is about to reveal his new cabinet. So I'm here, first of all, to talk with the people here on the ground, to ask them a couple of questions, and I will try also to cut some of the new minister to ask them some questions if I have the chance. And as you know, we wanted to be there with the media, but unfortunately, the Parliamentary Press Gallery refused to give us any accreditation, same if it's temporary. So we are here. Let's check it out.
I think it's a good job. I think there should be a LGBTQ rights ministry. I think that's a very important goal for Canada, to ensure that human rights are upheld universally, cross-wide, trans rights, all of that.
Je pense qu'il apporte une énergie vraiment nouvelle, qui est une énergie pragmatique, économique, et puis qui est axée sur des résultats. Alors, il faudra voir, mais à venir jusqu'à date, là, c'est bien.
I like the early Trudeau cabinet, the 2015 cabinet, but as some strong people, I think, left and became disillusioned, the cabinet changed too often, so people were shuffled between posts, and it was, well, hard to keep up with who was what minister at what time. And I think also Trudeau wasn't very good at letting cabinet members do their own thing, so he micromanaged a bit too much. At least that's what it looked like from the outside.
The old relationship we had with the United States, based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperations, is over.
I won't say this about Mark, but I didn't like his predecessor. I didn't like a person that worked for. She was terrible, actually. She was a terrible person. And she really hurt that deal very badly because she tried to take advantage of the deal and she didn't get away with it. You know what I'm talking about.
Je vous dirai un petit secret. Oui. C'est que M. Trump a un autre nom pour moi et c'est le tueur.
Il vous appelle comme ça?
Oui. Pendant les négociations.
En français, en plus, c'est incroyable.
During the US election, Mark Carney was strongly against Donald Trump, but now he's thanking Trump for protecting the border and the world. What do you make of this change in tone?
No, he's handling diplomatically, and it's good.
Yeah?
Yep.
I thought it was good. I think he was quite smart. He let Trump rant away, but he shut down any obvious lies or insults to Canada. So I think he stood his ground, but I think psychologically it was quite a clever move. So I was impressed.
Well, they know each other from a long time. They have a relationship going before that. Trump knew what he was doing. If Russia or China would have done that kind of interference in our election, all hell's going to break loose. But with Trump, everybody's silent, and he did a good job because he got his man in, and the Liberals wanted back him.
Je pense qu'avec le caractère de monsieur l'autre côté de la clôture, c'est la façon qu'il faut réagir. Ça ne donne absolument rien d'escalader ce genre de relation. Au contraire, alors c'est d'être plus conciliant. Et puis oui, il l'a flatté sur le bon sens du poil, mais c'est bien. Et puis ça a donné de bons résultats. Donc, même si, personnellement, je crois que c'était insultant pour un premier ministre d'être assis là puis d'écouter 90% du temps d'une conférence de presse qui n'était pas la sienne. Mais enfin, les Américains font du cinéma, que voulez-vous, hein? Et puis, comme on dit, là, il a joué la game.
They're both business people. They're international people. They just have a different style. And at the end of the day, some personalities get along and some personalities don't. You're like that, I'm like that. So
I think he's doing a good job pressing and advocating for Canada's sovereignty, but I haven't really been too tapped in on Donald Trump meetings.
Yeah, you have to be careful. I think he knows what he's doing. I think it's hard to deal with Trump, so I think he's handling it well.
So whether you voted for this government or not, we are in your service, in the service of building a stronger, more united Canada. We will build and we will govern for all Canadians. Build big, build bold, build now.
Premier Smith is saying that you're anti-pipeline still. What do you say in response to her concerns just broadly about the cabinet? And how do you deal with national unity? How do you address that right now?
So on pipelines, people should remember that we bought a pipeline, Trans Mountain, and that is only used right now about 40% capacity. So I think before we start talking about building an entire new pipeline, maybe we should maximize the use of existing infrastructure. And the Canadian Energy Regulator, as well as the International Energy Agency, are telling us that probably by 2028, 2029, demand for oil will peak globally, and it will also peak in Canada. So as far as I know, there are no investors right now. There are no companies that are saying that they want to build an east-west pipeline. And as you know, these things are built by companies, not...
So as you know, Western alienation is growing fast. Alberta is now talking about a sovereignty vote, and many blame liberal environmental policies, especially those pushed by Stephen Guilbeault, for hurting their oil and gas industry. Now he has been moved to Minister of Identity and Culture. What message do you think that sends to Alberta?
I mean, I don't have a problem with him staying in the cabinet, but he shouldn't be responsible for energy or things that have a direct Alberta connection. I think that will just be like a red rag to a bull. But I like his policies, but I'm not from Alberta, and I think climate change is real, and Canada needs to get serious about it.
Just he's got the experience. You wouldn't want somebody brand new to have to make those decisions, so I kind of like the fact he's got the experience.
Strengthen the separation movement, but then Pierre Poilievre is there too, so he's going to have to juggle something with this Western alienation. I would advocate for Western, a devolution of power a little bit towards the West. I mean, not too long ago, 100 years ago, we had Haut-Canada and Bas-Canada, and maybe we'll have the West Canada and East Canada for a while. And I think that the West should have more powers with and then I question the creative accounting. I suspect the creative accounting of the Quebec province to get all this equalization going to them also from Alberta, basically. It's almost a transfer from Alberta to Quebec with not much benefit for Alberta.
I've lived out in Alberta. I've lived in BC. Separation is really not new. These people have been talking about partnering with the United States for some years now, and we'll just have to wait and see.
S'il y a de l'aliénation, ça ne vient pas de nulle part. Alors, je crois que les politiques du gouvernement Trudeau étaient, puis peut-être même déjà à la base du Trudeau, Pierre Elliott, ont été vraiment antagonistes pour l'Ouest.
I think it's a very milquetoast, sort of, going the same ground message. You got shuffled out of environment and into Canadian heritage, which is a step on the right path for unity. I think Canada is much stronger united. And Alberta, they're an integral part of Canada, and there can be no Canada without the prairies and without British Columbia and the territories, and Ontario, Quebec, and the Maritimes as well.
Do you have any concern that they might decide to leave?
I think there's a Leger poll that says a vast majority, like a supermajority, 66% or more. I have to check the numbers, but they're all in favor of staying in Canada. I think it's a little overblown by the Ontario-Toronto media.
We will govern as a cabinet constructively and collaboratively, working with caucus and across parties in Parliament to deliver the change that Canadians want and desire. Our new government will be a strong and reliable partner to the provinces, the territories, and to Indigenous peoples.
We just saw the new cabinet. 15 ministers from Trudeau's team are still there. Do you really believe we will see any real change with so many of the same people in charge?
I think we could get more change with perhaps new Democratic government. I personally don't agree with the federal Conservatives, so I can't speak on how effective I don't think they are. But, I think Mark Carney, he's doing a all right job right now, but it's a step in the right direction. It's not, there's a couple of shuffles, a couple of ministers taken out. Yeah.
Je pense que oui, parce que quand même, là, c'est une question de leadership. Le leader est différent, c'est un autre, d'autres circonstances.
Well, I think he needed to keep some experience. So I like what he's doing with having the high people and then the juniors. So I think it'll work out well.
No. No confident because half of them we know already. and they're probably all those that sworn allegiance to the World Economic Forum. So
we're going to deliver that mandate with a new team, purpose-built for this hinge moment in Canada's history. This cabinet is smaller and more focused than those of previous governments. It will operate with a commitment to true cabinet government, with everyone expected and empowered to show leadership.
So behind me you can see Prime Minister Mark Carney is now giving a speech after unveiling his cabinet. But we just learned the names of the new federal cabinet ministers. 15 of them are holdovers from Trudeau's previous cabinet, while 13 are newly appointed. One of the most notable moves, Stephen Guilbeault, is now the Minister of Identity and Culture, and he is also responsible for the official languages. He is known for his radical environmental policies and his push to cap Alberta's energy production with net zero emission goals, which have harmed Canadians in many ways. Not to mention, he was one of the carbon tax's biggest defenders. So it would be interesting to see how his new role plays out, especially in Quebec. Chrystia Freeland, who previously caused chaos by stepping down as finance minister under Trudeau, the day before she was to submit her historically bloated budget, has now been shuffled into the role of Minister of Transport and Internal Trade. One has to wonder whether she regrets her decision to freeze the trucker's bank account during the convoy. Remember when she was caught speeding in Alberta? Then there is Anita Anand, now Minister of Foreign Affairs, and François-Philippe Champagne, named as Minister of Finance. The same Champagne who once had 2 mortgages from a Chinese state-run bank. He reportedly transferred them in 2020 to a Canadian institution. Still, the original decision raises questions. What serious person borrows money from a dictatorship regime? And if he refinanced it, it wasn't because of the huge potential of China interference, but because to avoid what he called a distraction. As for the national security, Gary Anandasangari, sorry if I don't pronounce it correctly, born in Sri Lanka, is now Canada's Minister of National Defense. Perhaps the most surprising appointment is Evan Salomon, named Minister of Artificial Intelligence and Digital Innovation. This comes shortly after he was fooled by a fake AI-generated image of a Liberal campaign boss, altered to say, "retard boss," which he then retweeted on his account.
I'll remind, not you, you'll know this, but those watching, we receive more votes than anyone else in any election. We are in a position where we have cabinet members from all the provinces. I'm very proud of that, and a cabinet member from full cabinet member from the territories. So we're governing for all Canadians, all regions, with a strong and clear mandate that came out of the election, and that's how we will govern.
The controversial Sean Fraser returns to the Liberal cabinet after resigning from Trudeau's. An exit many believe was due to poor polling numbers. Following his weak performance as Minister of Housing and Immigration, 2 of the most pressing issues facing Canadians, he has now been appointed Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada, as well as Minister responsible for the Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency. The new Environment Minister, Julie Dabrosin, is known for a radical anti-gun ideology. And Nathalie Provost, another hardline activist from Paul se souvient, has also been appointed, this time as Secretary of State for Nature, whatever that's supposed to mean. She's already made it clear that, in her view, the real problem is not with illegal firearms, but law-abiding gun owners.
The issue with gun is not with criminal guns. It's with legal gun owners that have issues, and we must protect our families.
Let's see if the two teams up to push their radical agenda. Several other ministers have been appointed. As you can see on the screen, there are now 10 secretaries of state, each assigned to work in specific government departments alongside their respective ministers. Many will wonder why those very same people who should be accountable for that disastrous record are now being rewarded today. And yet, while all these changes are being announced, we still haven't been told the names of the 11 MPs allegedly involved in foreign interference, a secret we may never get answers to.
My government will work relentlessly to keep Canada secure as a sovereign nation and to keep Canadians safe in their communities. We will build a stronger Canadian Armed Forces to defend every inch of our territory through unprecedented investments in land, air, sea, and cyberspace.
There is a lot of information that you are not aware about Mark Carney and his record. If you want to know all about it, go over thecarneyfiles.com. On this website, we will expose Mark Carney's record, and we will also show you what the mainstream media refuse to do. So go over thecarneyfiles.com right now and get informed. Thanks.